Happy New Year, viewers, and welcome to another edition of our program, Inside the Red Chamber. I know that 2020 was quite a tough year for everyone. The COVID-19 global pandemic, the recession in the country, insecurity, killings and others that happened in 2020. But hopefully, this year will be better for everyone. And I'm hoping also that Nigeria will get out of the woods and the economy will bounce back as expected. But for today, as one of the first edition of the program for the new year, I'll look at just two very key issues which I'm sure our viewers across the world will find very interesting. The first one is like an agenda setting for lawmakers. What Nigerians, what you, my viewers, expect from lawmakers in this new year. I'll look at that very shortly. I'll also look at intervention programs, zone intervention programs spearheaded by senators, which some people will call constituency projects. I'll look at how it has been over the years and how we should have some form of paradigm shift from the usual practice, which in my opinion has not really generated the kind of results that we want. So these are the issues I'll look at. Just stay tuned and I'll be right back to dwell on them. On the 11th of June 2019, the 9th Senate was inaugurated through a proclamation made by President Muhammadu Buhari. If you also recall, the President of the Senate, who emerged that very day, made a statement which oftentimes he has repeated. And that statement is that the Senate will always be on the same page with the executive led by the President. Now, we've seen cases, at least 5, I will list some of them, where the National Assembly has passed resolutions and the President has refused to act on any of them. The first one, which is quite popular, is the call by the Senate on the President to sack service chiefs because of what they described as their inaction to tackle insecurity in the country. Twice resolutions have been passed, twice they have been rejected. And not even once was the letter sent to the Senate at least telling them out of courtesy why such resolution was ignored by the President. That is on one side. I'm also aware that a resolution was passed, or like a communique sort of, after a meeting was held where members of the executive were present on restructuring the security architecture of the country. It was sent to the President as we speak. That has not been implemented. It's still lying fallow there. Again, resolution was passed by the same Senate calling on the President to halt the recruitment of over 700,000 artisans across the country. It was ignored by the President and he moved on as if the National Assembly did not matter. We've seen other minor resolutions about appointments skewed in favor of some part of the country, and the President again did not act on any of these resolutions, and Nigerians are wondering, in the new year, what do we expect? The usual rhetoric where we say we're on the same page with the President, or the Senate this time will be more forceful and maybe take their pound of flesh to tell the President that, look, we are an independent arm of the government and our resolutions are not mere advisory, they need to be looked into. So Nigerians have spoken to, they've also agreed that the Senate should not just do the usual and approve every appointment, every request from the President, hoping that he will keep his part of the bargain. They are arguing that since that has not worked, it's also time for the Senate to stamp his feet and insist that going forward, if certain resolutions of the Senate are not implemented, appointments of some persons will not be confirmed, requests will be pending, and other actions will not be taken until they are taken seriously. But the question is, with Lawan as the President of the Senate, who always wants to be on the same page with the President, will this happen? I guess it will likely not happen. And there's also this call that they should activate the impeachment clause against the President. How that will happen, I do not know, because I'm not sure as it stands now there's anybody on the floor of the Senate who will have the guts to stand up and move a motion asking on the National Assembly to begin the impeachment process against the President. But whether some of us Nigerians will be disappointed in the coming months in 2021 is what we don't know. But if what we know right now is what will still happen, it will be a very long walk to freedom, which I doubt will happen anytime very soon. But these are things happening, and I feel as good viewers, you should know them. Don't worry, just stay back. The other aspect will be very interesting. We'll be here shortly. Zonal intervention programs of the National Assembly is not new. Since 1999 we've had this, and there are also controversies about that, on whether or not the National Assembly should be in a position to execute projects on behalf of the people. We also know very well that their function stands on a tripod, which is lawmaking, representation and oversight. But so far we've seen them delve into what the executive should do ordinarily. But that's not even the argument. The intervention program we've had, what some people will call constituency projects, have they met the needs of the people? Now, if you go to almost every senatorial district or federal constituency across the country, you see a litany of abandoned projects all across, and you wonder to what extent or to what level have they succeeded in implementing these programs. Now, if you just look at the space of 4 years, what they usually get is about 400 billion. I'm not talking on the release, of course, it may not be up to that, but in terms of what they budget for yearly for intervention program by the National Assembly is about 100 billion every year. Now, if you break that down, the Senate gets about 40 billion, while the House of Reps gets about 60 billion. And each senator gets at least between 150 million to 200 for them to intervene in areas they feel that their representative or their constituent need interventions. Now, we also see cases of the quality of intervention programs that they usually offer. For instance, you see a lawmaker, a senator, we buy tricycles, we buy what we call keke napep, some will buy okada, what you call motorbikes, some will buy grinding machine, sewing machine, some will buy even cutlasses and the rest of them for the people. Now the question is, if they buy you okada or they buy you tricycle, buy you a sewing machine without renting a shop or training, they buy you a grinding machine without other palliatives, to what end? Have you succeeded in alleviating the poverty or suffering of the people? Over the year, the answer is simply no. We've also seen a case where they will start programs that obviously they know that what they are budgeting for cannot complete it, but will start hoping that in the years to come, more monies will be released, and that has led to a litany of abandoned projects all across the country, which lawmakers, as it stands now, they are incapable of completing. Now, going forward, what do we need to do? People have also argued again that if you want to empower people, there are businesses they can do. Instead of spending about 700,000 naira to buy a tricycle for someone which you are not sure of the returns, why not trade them on small scale businesses and set them up with the same amount? Or even find a way to help them access loans that government agencies offer, maybe at single interest digit rate. That's also an aspect that people are wondering why the National Assembly guys, they have not looked into this. But there's an argument to that aspect. They will tell you they want this contract because it's also a way of them getting small kickbacks no matter how little. Now, if you intend to really empower your people, right now I'm talking to lawmakers, of course, we need to go beyond the tradition of every year we buy things that are not relevant and think of retraining for the people. If the scholarship you want to give to the very poor of the poor, that is part of intervention. If it's to say, okay, we are training widows on how to use so and so, set a small shot for them, that is part of intervention. But when you buy okada for people, you buy sewing machine, just one, you buy grinding machine, you buy cutlasses and the rest for people, in my opinion and the opinion of several others who are familiar with the workings of the National Assembly, that is not an intervention of any kind. So we are hoping that in the new year, as they are listening to us, hopefully, that what they will do will be different from the usual. And looking back, we'll say, yes, lawmakers, although what they are doing may not be known to law in the real sense of it, but in the interest of national peace, it will be a good one that everyone will commend. So, again, I won't bore you like I always tell you. So let me stop here, hoping that soon in the new year, you will see more of me. I will make more interventions of the goings on the floor and within the red chamber of the National Assembly. See you again next time.